welcome everybody to our interview today. What is today?
Today is Friday.
Friday.
25th.
25th.
Yep.
Time flies. And we have a special guest here today. Now I first saw this guy riding. I was watching videos on YouTube, and I came across Dustin, and I was like, no way. I thought, my personal opinion was, man, that guy should be at a Grateful Dead concert or a Bob Marley concert, but he's not going to ride his bike. And you started riding, and I was like, holy crap, man! Half the stuff you did, I'm like, I've never done that before. I can't do that stuff. And it was motivating because we're in our 50s. Are you 50?
I'll be 51 this year.
Okay, so that's what I thought was cool, is you were grinding and doing bar spins and mini ramp stuff. And it still blows my mind to see somebody in our age group doing that stuff, And so it was really inspirational to see you ride and really into it, Anyway, so as far as the introduction goes, so I'm in Ohio at the Buckeye Bike Show. And I looked to my left and there's Dustin standing next to me. And I was like, wow, because I'd watched your videos, right? But I'd never met. Have we met in person like a long time ago?
I had seen you before at like the AFA stuff here in Columbus, but I was just starting out and just a youngster back then.
Yeah.
I was still been riding novice classes in those days.
Yeah.
But it's like I told you when I ran into you, a lot of people you're like their hero, but you were one of the guys, you and Martin, and all those guys, you guys were setting the bar of what I had to be in order to have that lifestyle.
Right.
And that's how I viewed you guys. It was just these guys are setting the bar. I've got to be better than them in order to be able to do and go where these guys are going. And back then it was a lot harder because there wasn't any social media.
Yeah.
You had to actually travel. And if you didn't have a lot of money back then, you weren't traveling nowhere.
No. But so anyways, we're just going to start talking, but I'm going to tell you, this is Dustin Reese. I said your last name right?
Correct.
Dustin Reese. And do you own Tech Bike Company?
Me and Trevor Watring are the owners of Tech Bike Company.
Okay.
Trevor is I believe he just turned 28.
Oh wow.
He's a younger guy, but he rides the same type of style that I do, that tech on the deck of the ramp style.
Yeah.
And that boy is phenomenal on a deck.
Wow. Really?
Yes, he just does so many deck tricks. He is he's a lip lord. He really is. Of course he rides flatland too. He's pretty good at flatland. The kid just makes everything look so easy when you watch him ride. Yeah. And the stuff he gets frustrated with, you're just like, man, I just wish I could do that.
I know, right? I know. But we don't have to, because when you're 50, all the rules go out the window and we can do as we please and it doesn't matter, so.
And Tech Bike Co. that's the bicycle that you guys made, right?
Yeah. Right now we have the Trident frame, which has the platform on it.
Uh-huh.
We really are gearing the company. It seems like all the companies, all their frames are signature frames and very specialized to a certain type of riding.
Mm-hmm.
Our frame will work well for a beginner on up through pro, work well for a young person as well as somebody in their 50s. We want everyone to enjoy being able to ride, and we have it set up so that if you want, the geometry is such, if you want it steeper, you can change the forks, to a 13 millimeter offset fork, or if you want it to be more stable, you can go with a 32 millimeter offset fork. We've got the rear end of the bike set up so that you can run it short for the way the new school kids like to ride, or you can scoot the wheel back and run it longer for your trail guys that, don't really want a super short frame.
Yeah.
Bottom brackets at 11.5, again, for stability. We just want everybody to be able to ride and enjoy this bike and be able to set it up however you want.
Very
And
cool.
we went with the platform because me and Trevor enjoy the platform. Trevor uses that platform for a lot of deck tricks, like frame stand manuals across the deck and just all kinds of things. I've seen him go over ramps just standing in a frame stand.
Wow, that's wild.
So, like, and you know, all the companies today, all the frames are cookie cutter. They all look the same.
They are the
Every
same.
one of
They are the
looks
same.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. Like on the shop page, you know, the header says a frame that stands out,
Mhm.
and you can see the little play on words there.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's what we went for. We went for functionality and originality, and that's what we want to promote in freestyle.
It's a good looking bike.
Yeah. Yeah. We have the pictures up right here that you sent
Yeah,
us.
I'm
We're
looking
checking
at it.
them out.
But this is not your everyday bike. This thing has some really, really trick parts on it, like those titanium cranks that you showed me.
Oh yeah.
How the guy did like that honeycomb on the inside, or what do you call that? All the cross bracing.
I call it a honeycomb. He's getting ready to release a 2-piece version that are open on the outside as well, so you can see straight through them.
Wow.
And I believe Brant Moore said that the weight on those is going to be like 16 ounces for the entire crankset.
And no problem with them bending or breaking.
Well, those ones, I don't think those ones are out just yet, but mine, I haven't had any problem with them. The only problem I had was the bolt in the drive pin's a little short.
Yeah.
So I had to replace it because my guard sprocket is super thick.
Yeah.
So I just had to replace that one bolt to reach. So, you know, I didn't have any mishaps with it, but I don't have any problems with them staying tight. They're not bending. They're super duper stiff. Like they're way stiffer than any other crank I've ever rode.
Wow.
What gearing do you run on your bike?
I still run 25.9. A lot of the younger guys run a 28.9.
Yeah.
But I still know how to pump a ramp.
Yeah.
I don't have to pedal at it.
So
And plus I'm old. I don't like to have to pedal any more than I have to.
No.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I don't want to pedal up hills. Just want to take a shuttle up to the top. You were talking about him being on his frame, and are you saying he rolls in manuals across the ramp and up the other side?
He can stand on his frame and go out, say, like a big wedge box or something, and actually go all the way over it standing on his frame. Or he can go up onto the deck of a ramp and jump to his frame stand and just roll like a manual standing on his frame stand across the deck.
Jeez.
I don't know if you saw this online, but this guy rolled into probably a 6-foot mini ramp standing on his bars.
Hucker.
What's his name?
Hucker.
Oh, is that his name? And then
Mike Clark.
he rolled around the park like on his handlebars. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Hucker's a badass.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I'm watching these guys do manuals across the ramp, and they don't even, you would think they'd flip, and they just are steady. And then they're right up, they manual up the other side, up to a box into like a rear peg stand and make it back in. Man, there's never an endless amount of tricks. There's just so much stuff that just keeps coming up.
Did you ever think that when you guys were doing that first, like meet the street contest with the painted up car in the parking lot and the wall ride on the side of the grocery store, that park and street riding would ever progress to where it is now?
No. In fact, I always had in the back of my head that there's going to be a point where there's no more tricks. We've done them all, you know? And man, was I wrong, because here it is 40 years later, and every day there's something new being done, you know? I mean,
yeah, they always are pushing the envelope. You know, I try to do it too. Like, I got one trick that I do that I really don't see anyone else doing. It's mostly because my seat's up high enough I can pinch it. Yeah. But I'll take off from a jump with my hands off and then spin the bars.
Oh wow!
So it's like it's a
no.
no-handed launch to bar spin is what it is.
A double jump or like a tabletop?
Just like a tabletop.
Okay.
Like I haven't tried.
Oh, it's a 30-foot gap, 8-foot takeoff. I was gonna.
At my age, I'm holding on to the handlebars going over a gap that big.
Yeah.
Like box jumps are cool, and I still ride a little bit of dirt, but honestly, I can still ride just fine. It's the crashing part that works me over the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has that same
Yeah.
issue.
I was like, you know what? I mean, I had some bad crashes, and I'm like, downhill mountain biking, dirt jumping doubles, and I'm like, yeah, I think I better leave that behind and go to freestyle. And then my face smacked on the ground. I didn't get my hands out, and I busted my chin, but I got a concussion out of it, which lasted a long time. So it's like, I figured, well, I mean, it doesn't matter what I ride. I just get hurt, so I might as well.
Right. And I'm actually recovering from an ankle injury I got almost a year ago. I don't know what I did, but I stepped down on it kind of funny, and it's not like a back and forth like a sprained ankle. It's if it tips forward too far, I can't walk on it for a couple days.
Yeah, right.
So like I wear space braces to help combat with that, and those are some of the best braces I've ever seen on the market. Like they are. If you're going to get an ankle brace, that's the one to use.
Yeah.
Because they know what they're doing. But yeah, like it's gotten better, but every so often I'll step on it a little bit wrong, and it reminds me it's time to go sit down for a while.
Yeah. 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 Just, what screws me up is the more injuries I pick up, especially now that I'm older, they don't go away. They're still there. They show up a lot. And here's what really screws me up is I turn on Matt Hoffman, and he's blasting 8-foot, 10-foot airs every morning, and he's broken every bone in his body or something like that. I know he's a train wreck, his body is. And you can't see it in his riding. He looks just like he did 30 years ago.
And that's the trick of an older rider. When you ride, you got to make it look like you're not injured.
Yeah.
That's what inspires everyone. They're always like, "Oh man, you're so inspiring." I'm like, I'm just faking it.
Yeah.
Like it hurts. It hurts every time I get on my bike.
Yeah.
It really does. It's like,
I'm glad to hear that, because I mean, I feel for your pain, but I'm glad I'm not the only one. It's good to hear people talking about,
Oh, it really does. Like I wish I could ride every single day, all day like I used to, but I have to take days off. My body insists that I take days off. So I'll be sitting around the house and like dying to go ride, but I know better.
Yeah.
So I try to do every other day.
Yeah.
Unless it's, I'm really bad, and then I might take an extra day off. But usually every other day, 2-3 hours.
That's still
I at least get in a session.
That's a good amount of riding.
Man, I think the longest session I put in the last year is like 45 minutes.
When we go to like the park, you ride longer than that.
Oh yeah, if we're at a skate park, then I don't pay attention. But ground riding, I don't know. If you ride doubles, dirt doubles, then the pumping just tears up your legs, man. One lap, my legs are dead. Ground riding, everything makes me tired. But
so if people wanted to check out your bike, what's a good website or page they can go to see it?
Well, you can go to either Facebook or Instagram, and it's Tech Bike Company.
Okay. Cool.
Of course, the videos that me and Trevor have been putting out, you can see the bike in action. I posted the one video I had of just Sisman.
Yeah.
Or Sickman.
Sickman.
However you want to pronounce it.
I think it's Sickman. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's Sisman.
But yeah, I posted that video of him riding it for flat. It's an all-around frame, and that's what we're going to market it as. It's for everyone.
What kind of front brakes are those?
I ride the Odyssey Evo 2.5s. I've been riding the Odyssey brakes since, I rode Dicomp 990s before that.
Yeah.
And then I went to the Odyssey Evos, and I've had Evos, Evo 2s, and now the Evo 2.5s. they're the best brake on the market, in my opinion.
Yeah, they just
I
look
mean,
different. They're like a satin aluminum color, and so they look different. And then
yeah,
you'd have,
that color is hard to get a hold of.
yeah,
Yeah, everybody does black, but
yeah.
they want to do those shiny chrome parts
Yeah.
Do you have
because
titanium pegs?
my pegs are alloy with a titanium insert pressed in the end so it doesn't deform the aluminum.
Hmm.
Wait,
Interesting.
let me get that in my head. Okay, so it's inside is titanium.
On the like the outer half inch is titanium.
Hmm.
The rest of it's aluminum. It's just like a piece they pressed into the end because aluminum, after you ride it so much, it'll start to deform
Yeah,
and wear out pretty easy. So they press that into the end to help preserve the integrity of the peg.
yeah,
Makes it a little bit lighter because it doesn't have to be as thick.
yeah.
I also have titanium spokes.
What?
The bolts in my front axle, which is female, I've got titanium female bolts, and my axle nuts on the back are also titanium.
Where did you get titanium spokes?
I got them from Albies.
Did it help with the weight?
It's a half a pound of rotating weight. It's just shy of half a pound. It ends up being a pound for a wheel set that you take off when you do them in titanium.
Interesting.
Wow.
Now the drawback to that is if you do a lot of street and you break a lot of spokes, those things are expensive. They're like $2.70 a spoke. So if you're a full-on street rider, it may not be the best idea.
You mean like the guys that are jumping off the roofs of houses and buildings and stuff?
Well, the guys do a lot of grinds
Yeah.
because a lot of the grind stuff, even if you've got guards on there, you can still get in and hit your spokes a lot. And like it just is not cost effective if you're going to be sliding against them at all.
Yeah. Got it.
For me, it's cost effective because again, I'm old. I need all the weight advantage I can get.
Yes. Yes.
Like
I hear Dylan and I built a grind box, and I mean, I only had a bunny hop like 6 inches, right? But I did it like 100 times that day. And I had a migraine for 3 days after that, just hopping up 6 inches onto that grind thing. It's horrible.
Oh yeah, like a good day of street and my back hurts pretty bad.
Yeah.
And it's from all, manuals and hopping because that's, a lot of that's lower back
Yeah.
when you're pulling up and stuff. Other than that, I had hip surgery on my left hip. They went in and scraped out a bunch of shrapnel. I need to have it done to my shoulder and I need to have it done to my right hip because they never stop hurting.
Yeah.
So after a good day of street riding, like those areas will just be throbbing.
Yeah.
And it's literally just from the pulling up, constant pulling up. And I like to ride street. It just doesn't like me anymore.
Yeah. Man, this is you're describing my thoughts on a daily basis. Everything that you go through it's like, but then I'm like, well, if I don't ride, what am I going to do? Where's the fun in my life? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's one of the few things I really enjoy doing, riding with Dylan.
Well, I've been riding. I've never quit riding. I've been riding since late 1983.
Wow.
Started out on my Schwinn Predator. And man, it's just, as you get older, it gets a lot rougher. Like there's tricks I could do in my 20s that I really wish I could still do, but it's just not happening.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these guys that quit and they came back to it, I tell them the same thing. I'm like, a lot of this stuff I can still do because I didn't quit. Had I quit, it had been a lot harder for me to get back to this particular area in order to, do the tricks that I do. And like, I can still do like tail whips over the box and stuff, but it has to be on a good day when I'm feeling up to par.
You do a tail whip over a tabletop box, like you mean?
Yeah.
In the
Tail
air
whip jump. Uh-huh.
To the pedals? You land on the pedals?
Yeah.
Wow.
You do a tail whip over a tabletop and you land on the pedals.
Well, yeah, you don't want to land on the frame. That doesn't count.
I know. But I'm like, man, my list, every time I talk to somebody like you, my list gets longer and longer. And it's like, I don't even want to learn a tail whip. I don't even really care if my hand comes off the handlebars anymore. But
honestly, that was like one of the tricks ever since I saw that first picture of Dominguez doing it to a fly out back in the day.
yeah.
Like, I always wanted to do that trick. And then I got, later on, like guys like Bill Nitschke, who was, doing the bunny hop version of it. Like, I've done backflips and stuff too, but there's just nothing that feels like a nice, slow, floaty tail whip in the air.
Yeah.
There's no other trick that feels like it.
Yeah. I get that. I know good feeling tricks, right? They're important.
That's
yeah.
Show
and tricks that you have like your particular style with, like tail whips. Like I have a particular style the way I do them. Like Taj Mihalich has some of the best. I don't know if he still does them or not, but he had some of the best looking tail whips in the business. Like just the way he would pull the bike way out to the side. And,
yeah.
Like nowadays, there's not as much style in them because they're doing like 47 of them at a time. So it just looks like the bike's just going 900 miles an hour.
Transferring over a 20-foot canyon.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I know I get the same feeling out of a double jump. Doesn't matter how big it is, just the landing good front wheel on the downside is just an awesome feeling. Same thing on the ground. It's when you pull a trick that you're working on or something. Well, I was going to ask you something. I was thinking about this the other day. One thing that kind of screws with me is I'm like, I'll watch someone will post a video. I'm like, I didn't even know I could do that trick back then. And I know I can't do it now. I mean, I want to, but you always kind of, in my head, you always want to better yourself, right? Learn all your old stuff and then get better. And so I started thinking, man, think about like, what's the guy's name that rides for Red Bull, mini ramps? He's unbelievable. I can't think of his name. Well, he's got a Red Bull helmet on, just does it. And these guys that do, 4 backflips, 1080s, when they get older and they look back at what they used to do, what are they going to do to get any kind of to be happy about what they're doing? They're going to have to kill themselves like on these big tricks.
And that's the thing. It's kind of like a natural progression, I think. Like as you get older, lip tricks become more prominent.
Yeah.
Because they're still good feeling tricks. They're technically way harder because it's a different style. The technical deck tricks and all that stuff is its own style. It's a tech style. Whereas the guys that do all the flips and everything, that's a huck yourself style.
Yeah.
They are hucking themselves into the air. It's like ski jumping.
Yeah.
Honestly, especially from a spectator standpoint, when you watch ski jumping, all the guys start to look the same. Like they're going upside down and they're spinning around.
Yeah.
But for a natural progression, it seems like, everyone kind of migrates that way. And then as they get older, it makes more sense to do the tech riding because, you can fall from the deck into the ramp and slide out.
Yeah.
And it's still going to hurt, but it's not going to destroy you like, a double flip, double tail whip would when you're in your late 40s going into your 50s. But it's a way to keep riding, that way you don't have to stop and be like, well, I can't do that anymore. I got too old. It's like, well, now I need to change my style. I still want to enjoy riding, but I need to change the way I am riding so that I can keep riding. Like there's plenty of tricks I'd like to go for, but I want to ride the next day.
Yeah.
What's a trick or like a dream trick that you have right now you want to learn?
I've worked on them for years and years, and I've gotten like 1 or 2, and that's decade jumps.
Wow.
Like I want that trick so bad, and I've got over the last 10 years, like I said, I've probably gotten it twice, and it's just inconsistent. But when you crash it hard.
So
I
that's
can't-
like doing a decade while you're in the air.
Yes.
Wow. I didn't
That's
know people did that.
People actually do double ones.
That's insane.
I saw a
They
guy
got-
do you mean like a decade, right? Double decade.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
air.
I don't care.
Daniel Sandoval has a clip going around from this last contest, and he does a double one, and he just holds his knees over the bars and just rotates around the second time, gets right back to his pedals.
Jeez.
Anytime you're in the front of your bike on the jump, that's not something I want to screw around with. But you go ahead.
I'd be happy with one. I don't need the double. One's
Yeah.
more than sufficient for me.
It's
It's just like with
almost
tail.
riders
It's
that
like with tail whips too. When you do a tail whip, if you it sucks too. Sometimes you'll kick it, and it'll get stuck backwards.
Oh,
And there's no way to throw your bike because your feet ain't on, so your hands are kind of clamped to them grips.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I
yeah.
mean, I've seen dudes throw them away, but oh man, it's ugly when it stops backwards on me.
It's almost like the riders these days, like you're saying, they're like gymnasts almost with all the spinning and rotating they're doing. It's like it almost looks like a gymnast on a bicycle. Like,
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
true.
I mean? It's
I mean,
crazy.
it really is like, and a good example of that is like the mega ramp stuff that, Travis Pastrana does for the Nitro Circus.
Yeah.
That's a ski jump.
Yeah.
That is literally a ski jump. You come down that ramp, you hit that, and you huck yourself just like a skier does.
It's crazy.
Which, for a spectator standpoint, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I get, and it's just my personal opinion, all those guys are phenomenal riders.
yeah.
But in my opinion, it gets a little boring because I know BMX and they're pushing the boundaries of what you can do in that situation, but it's not overall riding.
Mhm.
Like I miss the days when, Dennis McCoy would go win a flatland contest. Then he would go to a street contest and place well, vert contest and place well. The
Yeah.
overall riders, like everyone's so specialized into little genres.
Mhm.
Like
That's true.
the overall rider really doesn't exist anymore. And now there's a few guys I think that could fall into that category. Like, I don't know how Dennis Anderson feels about, riding flatland or something, but I think that, he could possibly excel at that. Guys like Chad Curley. But the potential is out there, but everyone just specializes what they do.
Yeah.
Dennis McCoy is still a great all-around rider.
He's still phenomenal.
But
What is he now? Is he 54 or 55?
No, I think he's like 52.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, he's
Something
still
like
a young buck then.
Yeah, he's young. It's like
Jeez.
Jamie Bestwick.
Uh-huh.
I mean, #1 ramp rider. He's 50 or 51 or something, and he's like not holding back. I mean, that's impressive. And here's what I was going to say: is guys like Ryan Williams, who are doing scooter tricks on a bike, and he spins so fast. I don't even know. Okay, here's the first question: how do you even land being that dizzy? That's the first one. How do you even know when you're doing like flips and 3 spins and everything's going fast? How do you know where to stop your bike? How can you see?
It's all timing. From what I've experienced doing stuff like that, your vision blurs. So it's all timing. You just know.
Yeah.
Like, things like when you're spinning 360 and you're spinning the bars, or you're spinning 360 and you're throwing a tail whip. It's all timing. You just know when you kick that thing, like it's muscle memory.
Yeah.
It goes right back to the same spot. And speaking of getting dizzy, I remember when I was younger, like I could spin stuff and not get dizzy. Now when I'm riding flatland, if I do the same trick in a circle too many times, I got to sit down because the world's spinning.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even
Yeah.
look at a roller coaster anymore,
Oh,
let alone get on it. I can't even watch it. I start getting weird.
oh my God.
But that's
Get
these
anxiety.
new riders- These new riders that are doing these. I saw Daniel. What's his last name?
Dares?
Yes, he did. He does beautiful 720s. His 720s are just art, as far as I'm concerned. He did it over a spine, and he was a little bit too far back. So when he landed all transition, he manualed out of a 720 over his spine. Now, for me, that just blows my mind. I mean, I have to sit down and break that down because that is just amazing. And that's what I like about what the new riders are doing is like, I had no idea that was even close to being possible, and they do it 5 times, in a run and back it up with another trick, all transition.
And manual to another jump and go off that while in a manual.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, just keep going. Well, you remember back in the day, though, like when you were on your bike all the time, everything was second nature.
Yeah.
A lot of things you didn't even think about doing, you could just do it.
Yeah.
And, now that I'm older, I tried to do that, but there's always that thought in the back of my head, like, is this worth the repercussions if you don't get it?
Man, we share so many thoughts. I know when I ride, I crashed on some doubles and I had 2 different insurances and they didn't want to pay. So they're telling me it was going to be 50 grand to, whatever. And so now when I ride dirt and I'm getting ready to roll in, I'm thinking 50 grand, screw up. 50 grand. You know what I mean? So it's,
I totally feel it.
Yeah.
Like I should probably wear my helmet a lot more, but I grew up not wearing it. So I've gotten pretty good at protecting my head when I crash. Like I'll wrap my arms around my head if I have to when I'm going down.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a good idea and I recommend everyone wear their helmet. I'm just a bad example.
Yeah, I don't wear one on ground, but if I'm riding dirt or skate park, I wear a full face helmet. And I can tell you, I would be dead if I didn't wear a full face helmet.
And that's the crazy thing, because I raced motocross growing up. I raced motocross from the time I was 5 years old up until I was 14. Oh, wow. I used to race McGrath in the 80 class and stuff.
No way, really?
Oh, yeah, always wore my helmet. Always full face helmet, Bell Moto 4, always full face helmet, but never wore it on my bicycle.
Yeah.
Now, of course, when we started out back in the day, you either rode flatland or you rode a quarter pipe. And around here, there wasn't any quarter pipe. So I only rode flatland.
Yeah.
And that was until, like I started watching Eddie Roman, Dave Vanderspeck, the Curb Dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. We can ride just like the skateboarders.
Yeah.
And I ended up, Bill Nishke made some pulse pegs, and then I made my own pegs so that, because those little aluminum ones we rode back in the day bent your axle and the threads would rip out. Yeah. And so, we did that around the same time, and we just, it was a whole new genre of riding. It's like you didn't have to be stuck in a parking lot. You could travel the whole town all of a sudden. And there were so many exciting things to go out and jump off of or slide down or, just like I remember having my, my Bully 1. I love that bash plate on that thing. Like some people are repopping them and doing the newer ones. And I'm like, it ain't even worth having if I can't have that urethane skid plate on the bottom, because that was the best part.
Yeah.
That frame didn't last me long, by the way. I ran coaster brake on it, and the coaster brake arm wrapped the rear triangle around the hub.
Wow.
From doing the bubicas and stuff with coaster brake.
Yeah, long story behind that one, but I'll take the hit. Go ahead. It's me.
But I love the bike. Like that bash guard on that thing was the best bash guard on the market. No one can convince me otherwise. That skid plate made it slide smooth. The skid plate was super durable. And like after I went through the frame, I got one of the core bolt-on bash guards. And I had like 3 or 4 of those urethane skid plates that I ran on it for years.
Yeah.
Like I had a green one, a black one, 2 white ones. Yeah. And I would just, keep changing them because it would slide just like the skateboards did. And I was skating back then. And of course we had rails, but none of the skaters use anymore. But it felt the same.
If you would have seen the prototype that was made in Florida, American made 4130 chromoly, all the dimensions were correct. The bash guard was a little bit cleaner. That bike was awesome. It was awesome.
Did you see the new one the dude had made?
No.
Somebody just redid that frame and he said he's getting a urethane skid plate made for it somewhere.
Interesting.
But I forget who made it. I think the guy's name's Milo or something. Built it for him. I think he's in UK.
Was that at the Buckeye Bike Show?
No, I've been seeing it around Facebook.
Oh, okay.
But it's the bully frame with all new dimensions. The integrated headset, and the bash guard is a little bit smaller for the smaller gearing.
Yeah.
And he's getting the plastic skid plate made for it somewhere. But it looks really good.
Wow.
Like the dude did a phenomenal job on it.
Yeah. Huh. I wonder how he got it made. That's almost impossible to get anything made these days. Well, how long did he make it? That's the question. If he did it like now, getting tubing is crazy, but that's beside the point. But
so the frame's recent, so I imagine it's within the last couple months that he started trying to get the plastic skid plate for it.
And the skid plate's for grinding, right?
Yeah, we had a curb down the street from my house. It was just a lonely curb. So you could pop your wheel over it and the skid plate hit perfect, and you could go for like 40 feet. Just
wow.
And it was so smooth. You never even slowed down.
You would never even slow. Like we would slide benches with them.
Yeah.
If you hit a flat rail just right, you could actually balance and slide on the skid plate.
Yeah.
Like Rick Molinterno got really good at that when he was riding the Haro Bash frame.
Yeah.
Man, he could get up on a flat rail and just slide all the way across that thing. Like I seen him. I saw a clip of him. It was like a ramp. It came up, had a flat rail across the middle of the ramp, and then went down the other side. Rick slid the bikes completely sideways on that bash plate all the way across this rail. Wow. And just popped right in the other side, just like a skateboard.
Yeah.
Bike sitting completely sideways.
That's sick.
He's a great rider, by the way. Where do you live? Where are you from?
I'm from just south of Columbus, Ohio, a little town here called Lancaster.
Okay. So how
you guys have a?
Is that?
I'm sorry.
Dayton?
About 2 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
Nice. I like Dayton. I like how just kind of untouched it was and basic. I don't know. Here they just buy houses, tear them down, build bigger ones, tear it down. They just keep going, But I don't know. Dayton was very comfortable to me. I liked it there.
I don't mind Ohio. I don't care for the town I live in very much. And that's just for I've been riding bikes and stuff in this town for so long, like it's hard for me to go anywhere where someone doesn't know me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the same way in your hometown, but sometimes there's people in your hometown you don't want to run into.
Yeah.
I'm always kosher, but like there are just some people that, I got to keep at an arm's length.
Yep.
But, whether they're just not good for me or the things that they're into or, things such as that. And like I said, it's kind of a small town, but it likes to think it's a big town.
Yeah,
I see.
I know what you're saying about people. There's certain people that, well, I won't go too far into that, but tell me about, the cool thing when I saw you, like I saw these long dreads, the big beard, and I was like, wow, you were like the whole package. You could ride, you got the look. And then when we were talking this morning, you said you were thinking about changing that.
Well, what had happened was I put so much time into BMX, and through, I've lost relationships because of BMX, I basically have sold my soul for it.
Yeah.
I put everything I have into riding because I don't know how to do anything else. That's my passion. That's what I've always wanted to be as a BMX rider. So like I'd had dreads when I was younger and I cut them off and then I grew them back. And then about 2015, 2014, after another failed relationship, I was like, well, I was still riding, but not like full time. Like, I was trying to do like the adult stuff and all that. So finally I was like, I put so much time and effort into this. I was like 43 at the time. I was like, I put so much time and effort into this. It's time that I went ahead and did something with it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, I was like, one of the things that got me noticed back in the day was the way I looked, except I couldn't grow this massive beard then. It was like, you know, a couple patches here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I went ahead and I made myself marketable again. I gave myself back the memorable appearance that, you know, people had in the past were used to seeing. And that's what they associated me with in town. Oh, you're the guy with the dreads that rides the bike.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. I was like, we're going to do this. So dreads went back in. I started riding full time again. And then a fella from Cincinnati, Shane Bolin, who does Old Fools BMX, he took notice. Started getting a couple clips here and there. I went ahead and I'd done one edit, like if you go into the YouTube channel, which is Dustin Reese BMX on YouTube. If you go on the YouTube channel, there's one edit that's the first one. And of course, there's no dreads or anything in it. That was from years before that I just I had finally gotten a smartphone to where I could kind of do some editing. And it's kind of jumbled, but you know, there's some good tricks in there. Well, when I got with Shane, like I did a second edit and I pointed out, and I believe I was 46 then. I pointed out the fact that I was, you know, older. I wasn't some young guy or anything like that. And it blew up like unexpectedly. Like, you know, the Old Fools BMX had shared it. I got shares from it's FISE that does the BMX stuff and skateboarding and all that. They were sharing the video, and it was because of my age. So I'm like, all right, well, that's cool, you know, like I don't have a problem with that. And so it just kind of progressed from there. Like hair got longer, people started noticing more. Social media was a big help, you know, people sharing your stuff and being able to put out clips all the time. And it just kind of progressed from there. Like I never expected it to go this far. I certainly didn't expect to be sitting doing an interview with RL Osborn. I mean, you know, like.
Where's your hat? You usually wear a hat, right?
I do sometimes. It just depends on the day.
Yeah, when
I'm riding, I'll wear a hat because it keeps the sun out of my eyes.
Yeah. Because I'm not used to seeing you without a hat.
Yeah, it's full Predator. Like it's pretty thin right here, but you know, I blame that on my dad because my dad was a huge fan of the movie Predator when it first came out with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah.
And he used to play it like, I don't know, 8 times a day.
Yeah.
He's old school. So he had like the, you know, the RCA head unit stereo and the big, you know, super speakers. Like the neighbors would hear this movie coming.
Oh, wow.
Like it would just thump so hard the whole house would shake. And my bedroom was right under the living room.
Yeah.
So it just kind of stuck in there. I've had people look at me and be like, well, you're trying to appropriate our culture. I'm like, unless you're Yalcha from
say that again.
Predator.
You're what?
Unless you're a Predator's real name is a Yalcha. That's the technical term for a predator from the comic
you
book.
said people said something about you.
Cultural.
Oh, they say I'm trying to be culturally appropriating other people's culture. And I'm not trying to emulate anybody else. I'm emulating the Predator.
Yeah.
Like okay. Straight up. That's what it's from.
Yes, I get it. Okay, I now I understand what you're saying when you say Predator. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, like that's exactly what I'm doing.
Have a problem with people like celebrating other people's cultures though, you know what I mean? It's like that.
Well, for one thing, there's a misconception there anyways.
Yeah.
Because the Rastafarians did not come up with dreadlocks. There's pictures from well before Rastafarianism of the American natives having dreadlocks.
Yeah. And Vikings too.
And you know why? Because combs weren't readily available.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like this has been a hairstyle since the dawn of man because combs weren't readily available.
Yeah.
Samson, Samson had, he had Delilah cut off the locks of his hair. Like those are Middle Eastern people.
Yeah.
Like it's just another reason for people to be like, oh, I need to get behind this cause because I don't like this.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Like if they do their research, they'll realize that it's not exclusive to one type of people.
No.
It's just not.
Here's a question though. You said you're thinking of changing your look. What would you go to? What would you change?
Well, since I'm getting into a business aspect of riding, maybe a more appropriate business look. just trim it down. And, honestly, when I'm riding, this gets annoying.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to see what I'm doing and all I can see is this. And, it just gets on my, some days I'm cool with it. I enjoy the fact that, I don't know, I guess it gets me attention. Other days, like I said, I'm riding and I'm just like, man, this sucks.
Yeah.
Because it's hot. It's in my face all the time.
Yeah. That I remember. Well, I didn't have dreads, but I had long curly hair and I'd sit in restaurants and just sweat.
Yep.
It was just uncomfortable. But you got air going between yours. It's like your hair is all clumped together. So it seems like you should get air.
Well, I mean, as long as I keep it pulled back, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
It's down to my butt and I sit on it and it sucks to sleep because unless I twirl it up and have the ridiculous looking man bun.
Yeah. But here's my opinion though. There's a million people with bike companies, you know what I mean? But somebody with a long beard and long dreads riding still with a bike company, now that's interesting. That's something you remember. It's interesting. And I dig the fact that you're throwing all what society says you're supposed to do, you're throwing that out the window and doing what you want to do. So I think it stands for a lot more than.
For me, I look at it, I've been looking the last couple of years, it's like, if you follow your dream long enough, it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that some people need instant gratification. If they ain't got it within a couple years or whatever, they give up. But if you follow that dream long enough, it will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may not happen tomorrow. It might be, let's see, how long have I been riding? Almost 35, 36 years now. But it'll happen eventually. Yeah. You just got to keep plugging away at it.
Were you going to say something?
I think it's funny with today's generation, it's even instant gratification means it needs to happen today, later today. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, it's crazy.
And that's why we see a lot of kids going to scootering now because they don't want to take the time to learn how to ride a bike. Scooter is instant gratification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've seen kids at our local park. I've seen a kid's mom take his scooter out into the grass. I'm talking, in her 40s mom and hop tail whip that thing.
Wow.
And that's all these kids do at our park is they'll go up and hop tail whip onto the deck, hop tail whip onto the deck, tail whip on this ramp, tail whip on that ramp.
Yeah.
And it's like, how impressive do you feel when you just saw someone's mom go out and do that?
Yeah.
Like I've seen our Willie ride a scooter. I know what can be done on a scooter, and these kids have no aspiration other than to just do one tail whip.
Yeah.
Which tells me that it makes me ask the question: how many 45 to 50-year-old do you see scooter riders do you see happening?
None.
Well, when they grow up, the guys that are young now and they grow up because they're the scooter generation, they'll probably do what we're doing and ride bikes,
I think it'll be more like the rollerblades did. It'll be super popular.
Yeah.
And it'll just dwindle off.
Yeah.
Because I don't really see any 45 to 50-year-old rollerbladers.
Yeah.
No.
That was I don't know. But
and rollerblades ruled the park. Like they were everywhere. You couldn't go to a park without running into a rollerblader, literally.
Yeah, I don't think they had a foundation though. I think they were, I think that was just pumped, shows, promoting, and where in freestyle and in BMX, there was kids riding and racing and stuff before there was ever an organized race. You know,
Right.
same thing in freestyle. We were
I mean,
doing it for fun.
20-inch bicycles as a whole, 20-inch bicycles, every single person on the planet, even skateboarders, basketball players, football, everybody on the planet, including male, female, whatever, has ridden a 20-inch bicycle.
Yeah.
Every single one at some point in their life has ridden a 20-inch bicycle. That's not the same for all other genres.
Yeah.
And I think that's why BMX and the 20-inch bicycle endure so well. It's just because, I know the industry has its ups and downs, but everybody has ridden a 20-inch bicycle, even if they haven't touched a scooter or a ball or a set of skis. Everybody's ridden a 20-inch bicycle at one point.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I think that's part of its endurance.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I'm like 6 foot 220, and man, I am too snug on a 20-inch bike. It just feels like, and this one I'm building back here, I swear to God, it's like building a model because I've been used to working on 26s.
You just need to get a 20-inch with a longer top tube.
Man,
they make those now. You don't have to ride an 18-inch top tube like back in the day.
I've never ridden an 18-inch top tube in my life, as far as I know. I'm riding an S&M with like a 20 and a half, but it's still, I don't know, something about the bigger bikes, the tricks are slower. You have more time to get your hands out and your legs out, but it's, you can cruise it. And I don't know if you've been doing, we're doing the ride out thing too, which is, that is a huge eye opener. I know it looks stupid from if you've never done it, but if you do it, you see all your friends, you just hang out on a long ride with 3,000 people. It's pretty damn cool.
The only problem I have with that, like the wheelie guys are fine, all that. The only problem I have is those dudes that are dodging people in minivans in traffic.
The swerving.
That's going to cause issues with the authorities and get everybody in trouble.
Yeah.
And they don't care. They do not care if anybody's going to get in trouble or whatever. I've seen, of course, on the internet, I've seen people get in fights because somebody swerved at someone's vehicle and they didn't stop. They got hit. So, the rest of this crew wants to get out and fight the person in the car.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's ridiculous. You were the one swerving in front of them.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I mean, but look at street, man. They're grinding public places, freestyle, your bike slamming on the ground, you're leaving track marks from your tires and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I agree there, but they're not actually going out and trying to play chicken with pedestrians or people in traffic.
Right. And you're always going to have, no matter what, you're always going to have guys that do this type of stuff. But here's another side of that, of what you're talking about. Do you know how hard it is to be wheeling and just get your bike to move on one wheel that quick and recover from it? I mean, I know the car thing and all, I get that, but man, the way they move so fast, we see them on the rides too. It's like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, they do some crazy stuff on wheelies that are just,
Oh yeah, I've seen them do some, some crazy stuff, and I'm not taking anything away from their riding. It's just, what happens when they get, they're showing these really young little kids out there that are, pretty good riders, and they're out there, they swerve in front of a car and get killed.
Yeah.
Are they going to care? They're going to be like, well, I guess he shouldn't have been in traffic, and continue doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point.
Because, some of those guys are out there being role models of those younger kids.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of take responsibility. I know, we look back on the record industry and them all being like, it's not my fault, but you are showing them what to do.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's mostly younger guys. I don't think D-Blox does that stuff. I mean, he's a real good role model. But yeah, it's, I don't know. There's every type of style of riding. You're going to have people doing crazy stuff that, like the guys that come off like, they jump like 20 stairs and straight into traffic. You know what I mean? It's like crazy. Yeah. But, I don't know. I guess you got to
what we used to do. What we used to do back in the day is we'd have people stand along the sidewalk like a chain.
Yeah.
So when you came down, if you couldn't, we all ran brakes. So when we came down, if your brakes didn't stop you, at least all the guys could grab you.
Yeah.
And that's how we got away with, being close to traffic. But we were always thinking ahead like that because we didn't want to be out endangering other. It's bad enough we're endangering ourselves on public property.
Yeah.
But to endanger other people was just, it's not fair to the other people.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because, they're out doing something else and it's nothing related to bicycles, period.
Right.
But again, that's just my opinion. Like, all these guys are all real good riders. I'm not taking anything away from that. I just wish they weren't endangering other people when they do it. And not everybody is. I've seen some of the ride outs where the guys just ride. I get it. It's cool. It's just, we all need to take responsibility for our actions.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a very mature thing to say. We didn't say that so much when we were younger, but now I think like that.
You were on the ride, right?
I did not make the ride out.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, the little woman had to work that day, so I came down the next day.
Oh, okay.
So she said you're spoiled. Your wife said you were spoiled. Is that true?
Well, I'm an only child, so yeah, I guess I'm kind of spoiled. I tend to get my way.
She spoils you?
She does.
I think, man, when I was watching the way she was looking at you, she was like, not only does she spoil you, but she seemed okay with it. And I was just trying to think, man, how do you pull that off? How do you get your wife to think, just spoil me, Not, I don't know. But
it's a little different. Like she actually has a shirt that has my face all over it. And like, she'll wear it out. Like, she got it. She showed it to me. I was like, I hope you didn't buy that for me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to wear my face all over myself. She's like, no, this
cool.
is for me.
It's cool seeing it on your woman, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, it is.
It is. Come on,
it's
man.
It's still a little weird because it's my face. But, I mean, at least I know that she's into what I'm doing. She cares. And she loves me.
Yes. She's a good woman.
Yes.
I was really impressed with her. And because she was always looking at you and she talked, you could just tell that she just digs the shit out of you. And then when she said you're spoiled, you got real quiet and you're just like, yep.
Yep. No, I mean, she digs the BMX events. Like, she digs meeting all you guys. Like, she thought me and you had known each other for years because when how I just walked up to you and started talking to you, and I'm like, that's kind of BMX. BMX is a big family. Like,
yeah.
When we gather, we socialize. If I haven't met you before, like, hey man, how's it going? It's good to see you.
Yeah.
And you don't get that with a lot of sports.
Yeah.
Like a lot of sports, the supreme ones are over here and the peons are over here, and they don't really interact.
Yeah.
I know it is. It's man, we just had a blast at that Ohio show. The only thing I complained about was on the way home, we had a 6-hour layover in Dallas. And
that was rough. Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about this, but with all my injuries, a 6-hour layover is like solitary confinement, And
I took a bus ride from Phoenix back to Ohio years ago and had a 1-hour layover in Dallas, and I never want to go to Dallas ever again.
Yeah.
Like, I slept with my stuff inside my shirt in a corner, like keeping one eye open.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never felt that way anywhere, but that place was scary.
Yeah. Well, we were just inside the airport,
Well, I was just inside the bus station, but there again, bus station.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do for all that time though? It's like, man. Anyway.
Well, back then we didn't have phones or anything either. This is before, the internet. So like the only thing you had to do was keep an eye on yourself.
Yeah.
I've been talking to Alan, the guy that put on that. You probably know Alan, right? The guy that put on the Ohio show.
Yeah, we met briefly.
Yeah, Alan and Jamie were the two guys that coordinated that. But I know they got Mike Buff for next year, and he's already got the poster done, and he's promoting it. Next year's going to be big, I think. Like really
nice.
big.
I've never met Mike.
Well, next year he'll be in Ohio.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, he's very cool guy. Laid back.
Nice. I still remember that one shot of him jumping off that roof on that PK Ripper.
Yeah.
And I had a PK Ripper. I'm like, how did he not shatter that thing in half?
Have you seen a PK Ripper break before?
I had one, and by the time I was done with it, the bottom bracket shell was egg-shaped, or not egg-shaped, but hourglass shaped, because I'd shoved the seat tube down through the bottom bracket.
Yeah. Wow.
And it had been rewelded a couple times. I beat the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Now I had a second one that was newer that I rode. I rode it for a couple of years. I didn't have any problems with it, but it wasn't the loop tail. It was the second design.
Yeah. I mean, for an aluminum frame, I mean, I was just waiting for those things to break when they first came out because they were aluminum, but they were stronger than crap. I mean, those things lasted a long time.
I've had a couple of aluminum frames. I had a 2-hit pork.
Yeah.
And it held up pretty good. And I've still got, I have a Schwinn.
Wait, you had a 2-hip what?
Pork?
Fork?
Pork. P-O-R-K.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to tell me you were running an aluminum 2-hip fork. And I was like, what? Okay.
No. That was Wilkerson's aluminum frame that he did. And I still have a Schwinn Azrael, which is an Andrew Ferris Flatland frame that Schwinn sent to me when I worked at Dan's Comp. It's still in one piece. It's aluminum.
I didn't know you worked at Dan's Comp.
Years ago.
Wow.
Probably right around 2000, 99, 2000.
How cool. Nice.
I worked on the phones.
Yeah.
It made me wish I worked in the warehouse so I didn't have to talk to anyone.
Yeah. I get that.
So what is old fat guy BMX? Is that
old fat guy is Stoney McGee from Chicago. He started it and was going around filming older guys getting back into riding. And he I'm
gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I had a jam at my local park, and Stoney just showed up. I didn't know he was coming. None of that. Like all of a sudden, here's this guy with a camera in my face.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, do you care if I do an interview?
Yeah.
And dude, we hit it right off, and I think the video he did of me originally, I do believe he said it's got over 50,000 views.
Wow. Holy shit.
So
you guys do that together now, or is that just Stoney?
No, I just ride for him.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
I'm just a rider for him. That's his thing. I'm happy to be involved with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all Stoney right there. Like I have a lot to thank him for. Like he's really helped progress me to where I am.
Yeah, he's a really cool
nice guy. Yeah, very cool.
Fun to be around. Like,
yeah,
always laugh a minute. Like, I'm very thankful that he came into my life that day.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's very cool.
You guys live close to each other?
Well, he lives in Chicago, or around Chicago. So it's about 6 hours difference.
Cool.
But yeah, he just showed up at my contest and was just like, well, I'm going to do an interview. And
yeah,
it was, I'd really never done any interviews to that point. Like, I'm like, interview me? Why would you want to do that? I'm just some old dude on a bike.
Yeah.
But, for what he was doing, it really played into his audience that he was going for. And between him and I, after that, with what we've been doing, we have an audience that not only is of the older guys, but we have a whole young fan base as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I never expected that. Like, I kind of thought, well, I'm going to inspire some old guys to get back out there, but I get just as many young guys coming up to me that are they're stoked because they're like, man, I can ride forever.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And I'm like, as long as you do it smartly, you can.
Yeah. I know you said something earlier about, people wanted to watch me ride because I was older. And I was thinking, the thing about you that I found so interesting was that you're still living your life. Not that you're 50 and riding, but that you're riding in your older age when that used to not be cool. And in other words, that's what you want to do. It's still exciting and it's much better than sitting on a beach. That's what I thought was so cool about what you were doing, you know?
Definitely. Like, you know, it's crazy that it took 30 some years for it to be cool to be an older guy riding. You know, I still hear, even if I hadn't seen the movie Rad in years, I still hear that girl looking at crew going, immature is more like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Like, I remember hearing that for the longest time. And then about 10 to 15 years after I was out of school, when like all the kids were starting to get into it, suddenly I wasn't as uncool as I used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we got our local park built down here, so you know, like all the high school kids are coming down and trying to do it, and it's weird how everything turned around and suddenly changed from the perspective of people on the outside of what we're doing.
Yeah,
and
than it was before.
That whole thing you just said about that girl in Rad, all the fun I've had in my life, I was being immature. When I was mature, I was bored. Being immature, I was having a good time, you know? So I think immature is kind of becoming like the way to go, you know, because everybody's like, I'm so freaking bored. I don't have anything. What do I do? They just, you know.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, look how our society here in America is set up. Basically, we live in a slave society. Yeah, they pay you money, but they're paying you money to go out and work to make your government rich. And all those guys that sit in government.
Yes, that's
what they do. It doesn't matter if they're Democrat. It doesn't matter if they're Republican. Just like you going to work, those people are there to put money in their pocket and take care of their family first and foremost over everyone else.
Yeah.
If it happens to benefit you, so be it. If it doesn't, we don't care because we made what we need to do to take care of our own.
Right.
Yeah.
If it didn't, like if they had to go work a regular job and then go to Capitol Hill and lobby for the American people, things would be a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Because they'd be lobbying for themselves. They wouldn't just be sitting in Congress or whatever, taking a nap and still getting paid.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't, you're Democrat, Republican, all that stuff doesn't matter. No, they are there for their own pocket first. Just like when you go to work, you're there for your own pocket. You really don't care if you make the owner of the company money.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if he makes money, that's not really filling your pocket very well.
No.
Because, you know, you're still going to work when he's off on vacation.
Were you done? Because I want to comment.
Go ahead.
He complains that I interrupt him all the time, even though he interrupts me more. So I'm getting this little click in my head that I'm interrupting somebody. But anyways, this is my thought on the government, is that the presidency, Congress, Democrat, Republican, and all that crap is just kind of the show, right? And then there's a big curtain, and then you got all the people behind that curtain that are really running the world.
Yeah.
And they're pulling the strings. Because
everything else is diversion.
Yeah. It's just, diversion, bullshit. And I mean, anyways, I'm not gonna go with that. But
I just think it's funny. Like I said, I'm not Democrat or Republican. They're all crooked in my book.
Yeah.
But you know, I do think it's funny that all those people that were social media politicians while Trump was in office, where'd they all go? I don't see no one speak. I don't see no one speaking Biden's praises. Not a soul.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think that's funny. Like all those people like blah 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 blah. Basically, what they're like, well, we're going to vote this guy out because he hurt our feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're tired of having our feelings hurt. Like, I don't care which guy's in office. I just find that funny that, you know, it's like crickets as far as political stuff goes now. No one's singing this dude's praises. They ain't saying nothing bad, but they ain't saying nothing good either.
Yep. Yeah. And it's like, if you start a business or you buy a house or whatever, you got a partner. You got an instant business partner, which is the government, because they own part of your house, you know, and they're going to take money when you sell it. And if you own a
Yep.
business, you're going to pay taxes to them. What were you saying about the air traffic controller? Remember you said the rule about you can only be a certain age.
Yeah, the if you want to work at an airport as the air traffic controller, it's the law that you have to retire after, I think, like 45 or something, just because they don't want any risk of, like, if you have like cognitive decline or whatever, they don't want that to mess up your ability to do that job, because of like you're controlling the airplane's landing, I guess. And we just
Well,
thought it was funny because
that sounds kind of ridiculous, doesn't it? Because like the president has to be like 60 or older. And they don't care about his cognitive abilities.
He's 80.
Exactly.
Our president right now is 80 or 79.
Right?
And he's running the world.
Yeah. And
you can't land an airplane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, yeah, it's the requirement for being air traffic control is a little more strict than being president of the United States, is what we were getting at.
Well, in the same aspect, though, is you can't be too young to be president either.
Yeah.
Like you have to be over a certain age.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
You know, I think all that's ridiculous. You know how to end wars? You want to end wars? Make all the presidents get together in a boxing ring with boxing gloves on.
Yeah.
I guarantee you things will change.
Right.
Quit sending the people to do your fighting. You guys get in the ring together.
Yeah. Two guys disagree from different countries. And so they go, all right, well, we're just going to send all our people from the United States. You send all your people, and nothing changes.
Yeah.
And nothing changes.
No,
if those two guys got in a boxing ring together, I guarantee you some things would change then. They'd be changing who you elect president as well. They'd be like, I don't want this old scrawny guy. We're picking the biggest dude we can find.
Yeah, John Jones.
Well, I think they figured out it's really profitable for them to be at war. So I think they want to stay at war is the issue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's big business.
Yeah.
Big business.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got any more questions?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, because I saw you're doing a decent amount of grinding in your videos, and we're starting to try and learn how to do that. So I was wondering if you had any like tips or pointers for learning how to grind basically on the bike.
Well, one of the things when you're coming up to a grind box, try not to go parallel. Come at a slight angle so that when you can actually hop to get your front wheel over, and then turn like, a slight degree to land on your pegs. Because when you go straight at it and try to hop, basically what you'd be doing is you're going to hop over sideways.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is going to cause all your momentum just to want to fall in all the time. Whereas if you come up at a slight angle and say you come up like right here, you're hopping onto it. It's more like doing it on a quarter pipe.
I see.
Like you can't go parallel to a quarter pipe and hop up onto the coping. You have to come up the ramp and then turn to it. And you kind of want to do it the same way until you get real comfortable with it. Then you can do it about any way you want.
Yeah.
But it's important. Your crank hanger is higher than your pegs, right? So your crank hanger doesn't hit the grind post or the grind bar.
No.
So
when I'm on both my pegs on both sides, it doesn't hit anything.
See, we're hitting our cranks.
Now, if you want the extra stability, when you get onto both your pegs, you can slam your forward crank down on top of the box. That'll keep you from tipping in.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's interesting. Do you lean the bike over the rail at all, or do you try and stay like straight up and down?
If it's a rail, I try to get you want to get your body centered over the rail, so your bike will lean slightly, and that's kind of how you pivot it back and forth to keep your balance.
Yeah.
On a box and like a grind box, you don't have to so much. And on a ramp, when you do double peg grinds on a ramp, you want your body leaning out and you push the bike in.
Interesting. Okay.
I think
that way.
I think one of the problems we're having is that we're only getting like an inch of our peg, if that, onto the grind post, coping, whatever you want to call it, because our cranks are hitting.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's like an inch and a half right there that we're giving up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have to learn, I think, how to do it with our crank hanger,
Well, I'm going to raise the crank hanger on that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go.
Are you doing some more welding?
Yeah. No, we're sitting on top of my art table where I'm doing my bike design. And so that's what I was pointing at, was the bike design. You got to raise the crank.
Gotcha.
I have one last question, actually. So do you have a a dream skate park or like riding location that you want to visit that you haven't been to yet?
That's a good one.
Man, I would really like to just visit California, ride
Yeah.
with you guys, ride with Martin and Eddie. Like, I've never made it. I made it to California, but not like over to the coast,
Yeah.
because I lived in Phoenix, and like we took a little trip and got into California, but not any farther than like on the other side of the border.
Right.
But yeah, I'd like to. I just love riding with everyone. You know, like
Yeah.
there's so many guys from back in the day that I didn't get to ride with,
Yeah.
that I would really like to just stop and have a session and,
Very cool.
you know, just roll around with them.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's still plenty of new school guys I'd like to do that with too. Like,
Yeah.
I have as much fun with the newer kids, and they're all really, really accepting. Like, I'm not, like I said, most of the younger guys are just stoked that they can see that they don't have to stop riding at 25 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's big. Definitely.
Like, so I get so much positive feedback. It's all really unexpected. Like, I kind of thought people would chuckle at an older guy riding, you know, when I started putting out the videos and stuff, and it hasn't been that. It's not been that way whatsoever. It's just kind of like with the frame. Like, me and Trevor started doing the frame. I kind of thought people were going to chuckle at the platform.
Yeah.
But Carl Hinckley at Nowhere BMX, he encouraged us. He said BMX is on the cusp of the change. People were tired of seeing the same old thing over and over again. And he encouraged us to go through with our idea. And we've gotten mad positive feedback just because our frame doesn't look like everyone else's.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I know that's cool because, you know, well, someone said if you strip the paint off, 90% of the frames are out there. They're all the same, you know, and so it's really cool to see a bike like yours with all the innovation, the titanium cranks, I mean, you're really thinking and you're really trying to do something different. And innovation to me is one of the great interests that I have in the sport, is seeing things change and trying new things. And I don't know, that's a big part for me.
Well, yeah, that's, you know, when we were coming up back in the day, like that was like, you knew somebody from their style, or you knew somebody from what bike they were riding, because that bike stood out or their style stood out. You know, you could pick them out immediately. And nowadays you got to look, if you're watching them on TV or something, you got to look for the names to make sure you're watching who you think you're watching, because styles are so similar.
Mm-hmm.
All the bikes are pretty much exactly the same, other than different dimensions. Like, you can't tell them at a glance who's who and what's what.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we wanted to get away from. We wanted to put the free back in style.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, what kind of frame is yours? You got a street frame or is that a ramp frame? I'm like, it's a freestyle frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I loved looking at your bike. So many interesting things and unique things on it, and it wasn't like you were just trying to put crap on there. It was stuff that could change things. It could actually help, could lighten the bike, could make it handle better, you know. Positive innovation. I think that's major.
Yeah.
I think we're missing that in our sport. So it's good that you guys are doing it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we're thinking outside the box, but my bike's basically like super new school with just that hint of old school flair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You know, because I'm hunting for manufacturers, quality manufacturers. And the big comment that I get from anywhere, China, Taiwan, America, is just take one of these bikes that we already have a jig for and maybe change one tube and we could do it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, no, that's why would I want to put out the same bike that is already out there 100 times? I want it to be what I want, unique. And I see some areas that maybe we can improve upon, you know, but they don't want to do prototypes. They don't want to go into that stuff. You know, they want to sell 500,000 of the same bike, same jig, same welding, same everything. It's just, you know, but anyways, that's not what we're into. And obviously that's not what you're doing, because your bike's extremely unique.
Yeah.
But nice.
Well, I mean, we were fortunate. Like, we went through John Courts, who used to work for FBM. He also worked for Solid Bikes. He wanted to do an original idea like we had. He'd already talked to Trevor, and so the way he designed the platform in this frame is kind of his baby. Like, you know, we told him we wanted something functional and different. And basically what we got is a bike that looks like it's a cross between the old Trickstar and an FBM Equilibrium.
Really?
So, and you know, it's got those little points on the end there, and those are just cosmetic. They're not in the way or anything, but they give it that little extra, you know, they help identify what the bike is. If someone's out riding one of our frames around, you're going to know exactly what frame it is right off the bat.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
is there anything you want to add before we close this down?
I mean, I'd just like to thank everyone, you know, thank you guys for having me on. Stoney at OFG, Flipowitz at Albies, Patrick Schooling at Flatland Fuel. Of course, Trevor Watering, like without him, I wouldn't be doing this. Like, he is my partner in crime. That's for sure.
That's cool.
Everybody else that's helped me out, all the fans, you know, everyone that supports Tech Bike, like without them, I couldn't, you know, none of this would be possible. Just, if you plug away at it long enough, your dream will come true. And it has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can they go to buy the bike if they're interested?
I have a web store. I'm still trying to figure that thing out. It is up, and I can't think of the name, how that site is. Tech Bike Co. business site. I don't know. I forgot to write it down. Stoney told me to write it down. I forgot to. Or you can contact me direct.
Or
just,
on Instagram or Facebook, right?
Yeah, at Facebook it's Dustin Reese. Instagram it's at Dustin Reese BMXer.
Cool.
And Tech Bike Co. is also on Facebook. You can contact me through there, or again Instagram at Tech Bike Co.
If you do get the web address or what it is he just asked you for, just let him know, because he's going to edit this. So you have time.
Okay, it actually is on the Facebook page and the Instagram page, the link to it.
Cool.
Frames right now, and we all know there's going to be a cost increase. We are offering custom frames, any top tube you want for the Trident, and a color.
Oh, cool.
So, and that's included. We're priced at $420 right now, but again, we know all the costs are going to go up in the future, just because everyone's being hit with the price increase.
Yeah.
There's shirts on the website. They run $20 a piece plus shipping.
Cool.
There is a weight on the frames if you get a custom one. Now we're getting ready to get a first batch going. It should be here late August. We'll have the first batch done, and we are getting some extras, so there will be some stock frames, because John's a busy dude, and getting materials right now. Everyone's having problems getting chromoly.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, we're getting some extra frames just so we can get some more stuff out there for the people, and just bear with us. Like,
Of course.
you know, worldwide takeover. Here we go.
I think
you're on your way, definitely.
I think everyone understands too now that there's going to be delays because of everything going on. So,
oh, definitely. You know, even the mail orders are pretty much so low on stock. Like, they'll get a shipment of something, and it's gone immediately because everyone's been waiting on it.
Yeah.
I know too, at the end of August, there's going to be right by us up in Santa Cruz, there's going to be the SE Ride Out, one of their big annual ones. So we'll probably be up there. A lot of riders from back in the day should be there, as well as some of the new ones.
Which one is this?
Up in Santa Cruz, the SE Ride Out.
Oh, right.
I think it's like August 21st or something. So maybe that'd be a cool California trip for you.
Well, I'd have to see how the money situation goes, but you know how that goes. I got 2 trips I'm trying to plan for right now. One is Cornhucket at the end of September. That's in Nebraska.
It's what?
It's called Cornhucket.
Cornhucket.
What's that?
Carl Hinckley and Nowhere BMX. He has a it's like he has his own compound on his property.
Yeah.
Indoor skate park, outdoor dirt jumps. Like you get to come in and camp for the weekend. Like I would really it's an awesome time. He brings in bands.
That's cool.
And everything. Like it's like a little festival. Like
That sounds cool.
If you could make it out there, I'd really recommend it. I'm sure Carl would love to have you guys out.
What's the date on that?
September, I'm wanting to say it's late September. I'm going to say 19th, but don't quote me on it.
All right.
But you can go. You should be able to go on Nowhere's Facebook page, Nowhere BMX, and all that information should be listed. Or just give Carl Hinckley, just send him a message, or else send him a message. I'm sure he'd be pleased to hear from you.
All right.
Hopefully, it's not too close to Wendy's wedding.
The other thing I'm going to try and make it to Swamp Fest in Florida.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I've seen that on the videos.
Yeah, Trevor's going down with Brant Moore, and I'm going to try and find my way down there as well. So that'll be some good publicity. Swamp Fest is October 30th, I do believe. Halloween weekend.
Probably won't be so hot then, huh?
Very cool.
All right. Well, listen, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your day and come and chat with us a little bit. I was really stoked to see you in Ohio, and I dig your bike, man. I think you got big things coming your way, and I think you're going to have a lot of people into what you're doing.
I appreciate it, man. Like I said, I pretty much, this is my life's work at this point. Everything's been leading to this point, and I'm stoked everyone's enjoying what I do. And like I said, positive feedback. It just makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
All the people that say, you were inspiring, you inspired me, like that inspired me right back to continue doing what I'm doing. Yeah. That pushes me to do the next level. Like I can't express to them how inspiring that is for me, just that they're inspired by what I do.
Yeah, I have one thing that I want to tell you is that I don't think you should cut the dreads. If you got to trim them up or something so you sleep better, I get that, but
I know. I know. It's like Jason Momoa shaving his beard. I get it.
Yeah.
Like it is. It's a total image, and I've had it for so long now. Like I totally get it. I know why people love it.
Yeah, it's like man, when you're wearing a hat, because I saw you wearing a hat when you were riding, and I just got that vision in my head with the dreads and the big beard, and the fact that you could ride was just cool. So, but you do what you want, it's your thing. But I like the dreads. I think they're cool for what it's worth.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah.
Like this will probably go before the dreads do, because man, this thing is in my way all the time when I eat and everything.
I know, right? That's funny.
And like, when you're out sweating, where all the sweat pools?
Yeah.
Right there. So then it just
maybe
drips.
Just like, a little trimming, and then wear it for a day, see how you feel, because, you might go through a big depression period where you're missing your big full beard. So just
right
get into it. Same thing with the dreads. Cut like an inch at a time and see how it goes.
Like I said, time will tell. I may want to do it. That doesn't necessarily mean I will.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I understand the whole public image thing. I totally do. Like there's been movie stars that have changed the way they look, and I'm like, man, I hate that. I don't like the way that person looks now. I want the old person back.
Yeah.
People are fickle. That's just the way they are. I get it.
Yeah, it's an image, but you can see straights all day long. But when someone does exactly how they want to do it, it's entertaining, it's inspiring, it's there's just so much to it. But I'm probably making too big a deal about it. So anyways,
you should grow some maybe.
No, because he looks good in dreads.
Yeah.
I don't have dreads.
I was telling him earlier, I remember when he had the braids all in his hair, and you notice this, right? You know where that style came from. I remember that freestyling cover.
Oh yeah.
Those dreads or those braids, man, it was like sleeping on a rock for a pillow, and and they were so tight to my head. It was a constant headache. But I went out, I was on a date and we went to a theater in Marina del Rey, and everybody that was in front of me stood up and turned around and looked at a white boy with dreads. So the entertainment value was way up there, you know. But I only wore him for like 2 weeks because I just couldn't handle it.
You wore him enough to get several pictures with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really care if it wasn't really about, hey, I'll change to get pictures. It was more like I was getting bored and I needed entertainment. And
now, didn't you do that? Didn't you do that with someone else? Wasn't it you and someone else both did it?
Chris Rothrock. Well, we went down to LA. We were like Crenshaw and something. And it was an all black neighborhood because the black girls knew how to braid hair.
Right.
You couldn't find a white girl to do it. We'd go down there and just do all kinds of funny stuff just for fun, you know.
Did you say Pova was dating the hairdresser you went through?
Yeah, well, I ended up being friends with the girl that started to do our hair, and he ended up dating her for a while. Which when I talked to John Pova at the book sign, not the book signing, the party at Buffs. Yeah, we connected that all together, so it was really funny.
Yeah.
Stoney wanted me to ask you. He didn't say specifically, but he wanted me to ask you about That's Incredible.
Okay. What do you want to know?
I don't know what he wanted to know. He just said to ask you something about it. I guess, what was that like? Being on TV with Kathy Lee Crosby and the other dude whose name I can't remember.
Kathy Lee Crosby and John, whatever his name was, they never show up at the events.
What? They didn't even show up?
No, they stay in a studio and they comment on the video.
That's hilarious.
Yes, but that was National Enquirer that put that on, and they contacted me with the idea, right? So we met out at this equestrian center, and there's a lady there that had a really fast horse, right? Well, we did 3 drag races and I smoked her horse. I beat that horse 3 times. She said it would never happen. She goes, this is a waste of my time. She was real competitive. So they had to shut everything down because she flew a horse in that was going for the Olympics or some real serious horse, flew him in from Europe. And that's the horse I raced. And that freaking horse was fast. But the whole process was it was fascinating. You know, it was everything about it was interesting. Like, you know, we got the track built, and Spanky Spangler, he's a pretty famous stunt guy.
I remember Spanky.
Yeah. He was my stunt coordinator. So he was like my bodyguard. He protected, like if anything changed on the track, he was on it. And he made sure, you want it like this, you know? So the producers or whoever was putting it on one night raised my jumps like 2 feet. And because they wanted me to be really high in the air. And I already was really high in the air, but I also wanted to win. Well, Spanky found out and he tore them a new ass. I'll tell you, he was freaking pissed. And he made them put the jumps back like they were. I mean, my track was only 4 feet wide, but man, he was so professional and just did it. He really took good care of me, you know. But
right.
Yeah, it was fascinating to do that, you know, and work with National Enquirer and all that.
Can you hear me, buddy?
There she is.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Good.
We're doing good. Thank you.
We were talking about you.
Why?
I asked him, does she spoil you? And he said, yeah, she takes good care of me.
Yes, if you spoiled me.
Not at all.
Too late. You already admitted that in Ohio, so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you guys too.
Yeah.
So did I answer your?
Yes, you answered my question. Like, you know, I watched it when it premiered on That's Incredible back in the day. So like, you know, that's kind of funny that I actually get to talk to you about it. Because at the time when I first watched it, I didn't realize that was you. It wasn't until years later that I think it was BMX Plus or something that pointed it out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, like I didn't even realize, because that wasn't an RL22 you were riding in that shot.
No, I think it was like what'd they have back then? A PL or something? I don't know. Their chrome race bike.
I don't even remember. Like my first good bike was an 85 Haro Master.
Yeah.
And I never did ride GTs. I didn't like the way they felt. I had a Redline RL20B, but I couldn't afford the RL22. I was a poor kid.
But the RL20, man, that's like one of my favorite all-time bikes before the top tubes. I love the double top tubes, but that bike had a really steep head angle. There's a lot of advancements in that bike, and I just love that thing.
Yeah, I always enjoyed it. But I mean, I rode that for a little while, and then I got an 88 Haro Master that I rode. And then, of course, the bash guard bikes started coming out. We were all moving the streets. So I pretty much, after that last Haro Master, I went American made, like S&M. I started riding those. And then Standard, Rick came out with Standard. I started riding those. I've done everything I can to stay on American made frames for the last 25 years.
Man,
the quality's just always been better.
My S&M, I think it's an ATF, something like that. Man, I've hung up on some gnarly jumps. I mean, the bike's just ragged on down a hill, or casing jumps and stuff, and it just doesn't change. It feels the same every day. You take the parts off of it, they screw right out. Nothing's oval,
Right.
Good bikes.
Yeah, American made stuff's definitely got that quality.
Yeah.
Like I never have any reservations about riding an American made frame. Be it Standard or S&M or Laird or our frames, like FBM. You can't beat American made stuff.
Yeah.
Like Taiwan can pop them out all day long, but you still can't beat the American made stuff. You can't.
I'd love to have a Laird titanium. He's too busy though.
He is pretty busy.
Yeah.
I did mention something to John, that when he has the capability, when he has the welding equipment, that I want the same frame in a titanium version.
Yeah.
With the platform and everything in titanium.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Trying to hunt that down too. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It sure isn't cheap. But
no, not at all. I think what's Laird want? I think his price is $2,000 for a titanium frame.
Yeah.
So You're definitely going to pay for it.
But now with all these increases, I wonder what's going to happen.
That's to be seen.
Yeah.
I think what did everything went up like between 8 and 12%. I think all prices are going up.
Crazy.
Wow, I've heard bigger numbers.
Have you?
Yeah.
That's just what I heard recently, but
I'll roll with it.
Everything's all speculation till it happens. So
yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to wrap this up, and thanks again for showing up and doing this with us. I'm glad you came on.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a lot of people real interested in what you do, your bike. I just like your whole program. I think it's right in there.
I appreciate it, man. Like I really do. I'm stoked to come on and do this with you. Like I said, it's been a long time since those first few BMX pluses that I saw you, and to actually be sitting here having a conversation with you and Dylan.
Yeah.
Like Dylan's kind of the sidekick at this point, I know, but as you do more of these, everyone will get to know you.
Of course.
You'll be right up here with Dad, and eventually they'll be saying your name and be like, yeah, you remember RL's his dad.
Yeah. Everyone's been super welcoming. I mean, when we went to the Buckeye Bike Show, I was surprised because people were coming up to talk to me and had questions for me and stuff just from seeing me in the videos. But kind of like you were saying, it's just a community and everyone's really friendly and just wants to hang out and be friends,
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a big family.
Yeah.
He's got I'm going to tell him. I know we say this all the time. He's got this, you know how some people have that eye hand? It's like a magical, it's sort of like on the same wavelength, and, you know, pitchers, football players, lacrosse players. He's got that same thing. And like the other day, I'm like, hey man, you should learn backwards wheelie. He's like, no, I'm not ready for that. I think his second or third one, he went like 10 feet. Right. And so, and I've been struggling with him. So man, the next time I rode, I made sure, I'm like, man, you gotta get this thing down, and he's going to be passing you up.
He ain't allowed to show me up. What's he think he's doing?
Yeah.
No.
In 2 days. He's been riding. How long you been riding?
Like almost a year now.
A year. He hits jumps that scare me.
No,
I mean, double.
that's not
Yeah.
true.
Harvey West.
No way.
Harvey West has a good jump there that, I mean, I don't just hit it like nothing. I mean, I think about it. I'm concerned, you know, I make sure I hit it right and everything. And he's doing it.
You know how BMX is, though. You progress at the speed of you watch the person you're riding with, and that expedites your speed of progression.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
That's how BMX always works.
He's always telling me how to do it or how to make it easier, and it helps a lot. So
The
Well,
hardest
I lost to him in a
hard-
wheelie contest. We had a wheelie contest and I lost. Can you believe I've been doing wheelies for 50 years? 50.
the
years.
hardest thing you can do in BMX is spend all your time riding alone.
yeah, right.
Like
do
that
like
is a motivation killer right there.
Yeah.
Because you feed off the other person when you're riding. It's a constant feed back and forth. You push
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And like some days if I got to ride alone, I'm just not motivated. I'll just ride around. That's all I'll do.
Yeah.
As long as I'm spending time on my bike, because I'm not motivated to push myself.
Yeah. I hear you, man. There's some days I'll start riding and I'll be like, this ain't working. This is just hurting too much right now. But yeah, he pushes me. He really does. And it's definitely, I love the competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Friendly competition. And he really works hard at it. So I got to start working harder. But yeah, it's a good thing.
Sounds good.
Cool.
I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it as well.
All right. Well, you guys have an awesome day and go out and ride.
Yeah. That's what we're probably
You riding
do.
today?
It looks a little like rain, so I'm going to try and squeeze it in maybe before it rains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're going to try to ride today. I've been off for like 3 days.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I took yesterday off because I rode the day before. So
yeah.
There you
Cool.
go.
So it's my day to get out there.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Dustin. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for both you guys. You know, nothing but love. I appreciate it.
All
Yeah,
right,
of
man.
course. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Later on, man.
See ya.